Welcome to this edition of Stream On. I'm Jim Williams, your host, and this week we have a friend of the podcast who's coming back. He is Jed Mercurio. Now, Jed is the creative force behind the epic police drama Line of Duty. Series 6 of that wildly successful show is going to debut on May 18th right here in the U.S. exclusively on BritBox. Now, as you remember, in Season 5, it was a phenomenal, well-written show, and it was one of the big hits on BritBox as well as the BBC in the UK. Now, if you're thinking about, well, did Season 6 fall off? That would not be the case. As a matter of fact, it comes here to BritBox after, get this, scoring record number of ratings, which outscored Bodyguard, which is another Jed creation, Downton Abbey, and a number of other well-known shows in Britain. So what an epic season it has been for Series 6 of Line of Duty. And I have to say to you, Jed, when we last spoke, as I said, critics loved it, the audience loved it, but who would have known that you would have been the man behind the top crime drama in the UK in the 21st century? How about that?
It is. It's kind of surreal. I think all of us involved in the show who recall what a small show it was when we started. You know, we were an unheralded cop show with a difference. We went on BBC2 and aired to a pretty small niche audience, and then kind of fast forward 10 years and we're the number one show on the number one network and we're breaking records. It's incredible. It's incredible. We're all thrilled.
Well, it's a testament to your to your team. I mean, the writing, the directing, and obviously the cast that you have just keeps getting better year in and year out, which is, that's difficult to do. And you guys have been able to do it on the basis, which obviously is appreciated not only by your fans in the UK, but now by the fans here in the US on BritBox.
Yeah, I have to pay tribute to the cast who's been brilliant throughout, year on year, season on season. They've been really eager to come back and push the boundaries of their characters, and that's what's really helped keep the audience coming back. But also the fact that now our audience in the US is growing, that's incredibly gratifying. We're hugely grateful to our American fans for spreading the word about Line of Duty.
What's funny, I even know a number of people that once it hit BritBox, they started to say to me, we actually pay attention to you sometimes. It's a good show. And I said, well, it's basically, it's one of those things where it's a bingeable show too, which, that's rare when you get a show that after you watch the first one, you go, wait a minute, I got to watch the next one. And then 3 hours later, you realize, okay, I got to stop for right now. But it's not because you want to. It's because, you have work the next day.
Yeah, it's so gratifying when we hear the way that people binge the show, because in the UK, it transmits in a linear fashion. So for the season, as each season premieres on BBC1, the audience has to wait 1 week for the next episode, and it's only when it's aired that then it goes on to the various streaming platforms where it then gets binged. So it's just incredible to hear the different ways that people enjoy watching the show.
But if you think about it, right, when you get the ratings you get on ITV, that means that, and this is very rare, Jed, at this time with streaming, like you were talking about, that you get a show that has become appointment television. That usually is just something that is reserved for, say, live sports or news, because, if you're going to watch an English Premier League game, well, it starts at 2:30. You got to watch it at 2:30. But in the case of Line of Duty, that means that people not only love the show, but are willing to say, okay, I'm blocking out this time this evening and watching it. That really is not something that has happened these days when it comes to streaming.
You're absolutely right, Jim. And I think it shows a number of things that are quite interesting to talk about. I think that the first one is that the accepted wisdom is that TV viewing is only becoming more atomized, that people are watching at their own speed, they're watching it disconnected from other fans. But then we see shows that kind of break that mold, and we see that as soon as a new episode drops, fans are eager to watch it immediately on the streaming services. I think the fact that the streamers don't release the amount of data that the broadcast networks do mean that we don't often know how those shows are being viewed. But because the broadcast networks release the live viewing figures, we can map the fact that half the available live TV audience was watching Line of Duty, which is an extraordinary figure, and that's really propelled the record-breaking performance of season 6. And that, I think, is because there is still an appetite for shared viewing, that people do want, in the way that you've very accurately described with a live sports event. They do want that shared experience, and they do want to talk about it, and it feels like that might be a backlash against atomized viewing.
Well, it's funny. It's been 45 years I've been in this business, and we used to, back in the day, as the old saying goes, we used to call it a water cooler show, right? Because people want to go to work or talk to their friends the next day about, did you see last night's show? And, now, clearly, with what you've created at ITV, you've got one of those water cooler shows.
Yeah, and it's like I said, it's kind of a little surreal, but it's incredibly gratifying.
Now, last time we chatted, you talked about the fact that there were a number of people who, would come in and, A-lister type guests who would wanted to be on the show. And I can't imagine that didn't just, with what you've been doing, bringing home the ratings, that list is getting larger by the minute.
Yeah, you would hope. But there's one kind of caveat with that, which is that once we commit to a production schedule, it's built around the availability of the regular cast. We have 3 regular cast, and they're very busy. So when we identify a production window, we then are limited to guest cast who are available. And as we all know, people who are kind of at the top of their profession are very busy, they're in demand. So it's great that there are lots of people who, in principle, might be interested, but the practicality is that we tend to target 1 or 2 people who we think might be suitable for a role. And in the last couple of seasons, we've been incredibly fortunate that they've been able to make the time to join the show.
Well, the other thing is that you have such a strong cast that just because someone is a talented actor or actress doesn't mean that they quite fit the mold of what Line of Duty, what the characters in Line of Duty have with the array of, you don't want to screw up the chemistry, which is obviously what puts you at the top in the first place. Again,
that's a really good point, Jim, because the style of acting that our regulars, Martin and Vicky and Adrian, use is kind of derived from the similarities they have in their background. They're all from ordinary working class backgrounds. They're the first people in their families to have careers in the creative arts. And Adrian is the only one who formally trained as an actor. And that was because in his generation of actors, you could get a grant from the state to support you financially if you went to drama school. And that no longer exists in the UK. So Martin and Vicky, who are much younger, they didn't have the opportunity. Vicky won a place at drama school. She auditioned and she was offered, but she couldn't afford to go to drama school. She had to go and get a job. And Martin was the same. He came from an ordinary working class background, and he got some opportunities in feature films, which were kind of like low budget independent cinema, which are great roles, but they're not high paying.
Right.
So again, he couldn't afford to go to drama school. He had to just dive straight into getting paying work.
Well, first of all, you wouldn't be able to tell that for the performances, on the show. And secondarily, with all of the time that you guys have spent together over the years, there's got to be, I would think, a very almost ability for some of these actors together, as I say, they've been together, that they almost can finish each other's sentences. There's an intuition and a feeling and a team built situation where okay, I know what he would do. I need to do this. You know what I'm saying? And it seems like that's the kind of core group you've got, that they understand each other so well that they know what's going to help that person, be better in the scene. At the same time, it's going to make them better in the scene.
Yeah, that's right. I mean, they've developed a real kind of closeness over the years of making the show. Everybody's close friends off screen as well as close collaborators on screen. And also, they put a lot of work in. They during the shoot, they run lines together, offset, and they each other with the scenes. And so they're a real gift to the directors and to me that they just come on the set with beautifully polished scenes, and they're just great together.
One of the other parts of the show which I enjoy is you really do get very granular, very gritty in the aspect of making. This is not something that makes cities look really cool. This is a very organic and inside look at, we're here. We're not here to make the city look good. We're here to use the city as our backdrop and as a character in the show.
Yeah, I think that's right. I think that's something that we just work on season on season, and it just comes from the fact that we're all kind of pulling in the same direction.
Sure.
Everybody understands what the show is about, and we know each other very well. And we talk to each other. We discuss things so that there's always a clear understanding of what we're attempting to achieve, even if we don't always succeed, because no show's perfect. But at least we all understand what we're trying to do.
So, how do you, as we get ready for season 7, how do you map that? When do you begin to map that out?
Well, at the moment, we don't know if there is going to be a season 7.
Okay.
It's something that we haven't started that conversation. Season 6 has only just finished airing in the UK, like less than 2 weeks ago, and there was kind of real hype and mania around the success of the show. So I think we all want to take a little step back and discuss, firstly, if there is a direction for the story to go in that is worth pursuing, and then look at how we might achieve that. And to be honest, that's how we've approached it in the past. We haven't come straight out of a season and gone straight into planning the next one, because I think these things take a little bit of time for the message of each season and the dramatic arc of each season to sink in with the audience. And I think once you've got a little bit of distance from it, then you can make the appropriate plans. And as I said, the take-home message at the moment is that there's no definite confirmation that we will be producing a seventh season.
But for now, what we can do is just enjoy the fact that the new season begins on the 18th of May here in the United States.
Okay. Well, the thing I'm most excited about at the moment is US audiences having the opportunity to see season 6 of Line of Duty. And in season 6, we break new ground. We go deeper into institutionalized corruption, and I think that's something that is changing, not necessarily for the better on both sides of the Atlantic at the moment. I think in terms of recent events, we're seeing corrupt practices that are more visible in political institutions and policing institutions, and that's as true in the UK as it can be in certain ways in the US. And I think it's important for drama to address those issues if there's a way of doing it sensitively and constructively. And I hope that US fans will appreciate the care we've taken over those messages.
Special thanks to our guest, Jed Mercurio, the driving force behind the hit series Line of Duty. Series 6 drops on May 18th on BritBox. All the information is in the show box below. We'll be back with more of Stream On right after this from BMW, the ultimate driving machine.
At BMW, we know leaving the road wasn't easy, but anticipating our return taught us to appreciate every drive. The exhilaration of the ultimate adventure. Moments spent with your favorite co-pilots. And the freedom to explore just because. Our time to rejoin the road is finally here.
Welcome back, everyone. Now, if you're not one of the over 75,000 people who've taken the time worldwide to join our little party, first of all, shame on you. Second of all, we'll make it simple. You can find us on the Apple Podcast Store, same as Google Play, Spreaker, Stitcher, Spotify, as well as iHeartRadio, TuneIn Radio, Amazon Music, and here in the U.S. on Pandora. Now, if you have an assistant device like, say, Alexa or Siri or Google, just ask them to play the latest edition of Stream On with Jim Williams, and guess what? They'll do it for you, okay? Now, for some reason, you still can't find us. Then all you have to do is pull out the old Google machine, type in Stream On with Jim Williams, hit the favorite button or subscribe button. Each week, you're going to get a brand new edition of the podcast sent directly to your phone, your tablet, or to both, okay? So please go out there and do that for us today. Now, once you are part of our family, by all means, and it's in the show box below, follow us on social media. Tell us what you are watching, okay? Tell us what you like, what you don't like. You can make suggestions as to shows that we will do for you. And so we love interacting with our audience. By all means, follow us in our social media and keep us apprised of what you're watching, what you like and what you don't like, okay? Because feedback is important and we want to hear from you. So by all means, check it out. Quick note here in the news. Disney Plus just exceeded the 100 million mark. That's right, 100 million subscribers for Disney Plus, which bodes well for them. Hot on their heels, HBO Max, as well as Paramount Plus. We've got Discovery Plus, which is doing quite well, and of course, Peacock. So there's a lot of streaming services out there that are offering a load of content. By the way, Tubi is another, and Crackle, all are doing fantastic jobs of giving folks what they want, which is quality content at a reasonable price. And that's all you can ask for, okay? All right. Hey, special promotion for Stream On is brought to you by Sling TV. They are our official streaming live video service. So by all means, check out Sling. There's plenty of information on in the show box below. Okay? All right. Special thanks to Jed Mercurio, whose Line of Duty crushed it in the UK on the BBC, and now drops this week on BritBox May 18th. Okay? So that about does this for this particular show. I'd like to thank you all for joining us, and thank the entire team here for helping put it together. Until next week, ladies and gentlemen, have a wonderful, safe week. Lots of fun binge things going on this weekend. By all means, check it out. And in some cases, you're going to be able to go outside maskless for the first time in a while. So enjoy yourself there. Until next week, I'm Jim Williams saying so long for the team here at Streamer.